Oh, there we are. Okay, everybody. Well, the cat had been in the monkey cam, but now the kitty's on my lap. You can... Kitty on my lap. Want attention? Hello, buddy. There you are. So, it's Friday. Sorry I wasn't able to do a show on Wednesday. I've just been piled in work and stuff. So, now the cat wants to run away. Here, go hang out with Monkey. Or do that. Just don't run after him, you dumb dog. Okay. Sorry, I just had a ton of work to do this week. Wasn't able to get a show in on Wednesday. But here we are. Let's chit-chat. We got a Friday. Market just closed. Looked like either the plunge protection team was at work right at the end there, or for some reason people assume that there was a dip today and they're buying that. But all indications are there's going to be a massive sell-off coming. William Morgan was sending me stuff today about how the institutions are basically like, hey, everyone buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And then no one bought the dip because no one has any money. And then went, oh, shit. Ooh, we may have to do a massive sell-off now because people aren't willing to buy. I mean, heck, we're at almost, $500 billion in lost valuation on Tesla alone this year. That is nuts. Blue chips across the board getting hit. The funniest one was Costco. A shit poster made their page look like the breaking news 911 and said that Costco was raising the price of their hot dogs to $2.50 and Costco stock plunged 13%. So, woohoo. Yeah. So, yeah, we got that. Anyway, one of these. And off. It's off. It is off. Okay. It makes it easy to do the a week's worth of turning the intro off if you don't do a week's worth of shows. Okay. Anything else to talk about, Monkey? We're entering a bear market. We are officially down 20% on the year, which makes it bear market. There was a warning from... Oh, shoot. This was like late last night. There was a warning from, I think, Goldman or someone saying that things could drop overall like 60 to 75%. That's a lot. And that's seems likely. Although interest rates for mortgages did drop a smidge this week, which was weird. There's no reason I can find for that being the case. But, yeah. Okay. Let's go. Let's see what you guys are talking about today. Today's shirt, I love this shirt, but I think it's actually technically a woman's blouse because the button's on the wrong side. But I love the pattern, so I'm going to wear it anyway. I don't care. Okay. Justin Heights here. F1 Sushi. A little tape painting into the clothes. Yeah, that's plunge protection team at work. I don't know. Trying to make for a nice weekend. Although crypto did take a big drop again today, and that's trying to climb back out of it. Grandpa Barney, hi brother. Really another windstorm again, killing grandpoops. That was Wednesday. It was really windy. My yard is like covered in tree branches now, and I gotta clear them all out of the way if I'm ever gonna mow again. Yeah, I hope you had fun with that one, Grandpa Barney. I don't know what May windstorms are all about, but we are scheduled tomorrow to have our second day of above 70-degree weather here in Washington. We've had one, and it's been so cold. Definitely not springtime shorts and t-shirt weather. Every single day it's just been sweatshirt, pants, fuzzy wool socks. Brrr. The rest of the world might be melting, but we are not. Another thing, just to get this out off the bat. My brother's like, hey, just stop talking about metamaterial so that people don't accuse us of conflicts of interest. So I'm not going to answer metamaterial questions anymore, just to keep him from having headaches. So if you have metamaterial questions, I will ignore them. FYI. Just not going to talk about it anymore. I am still invested in it. I'm still waiting for a dividend. Beyond that, I'm not going to discuss them, just to keep things. So visit some other YouTubers who talk about metamaterial. They'll answer your questions for you. and do that. Okay. Legacy 10 Productions, Houston. What's the best way to time SPY and HYG puts? Not financial advice, not financial advisor, and Fish wears a mattress. I don't know if you can. The way this plunger protection team is working, it makes really weird movements. Overall, they're dropping. So, if I had the cash on hand and I was going to place puts on them, I would probably actually go for in the money now, set at a later date. Because that seems like a pretty much guarantee that you will end up with more than you started with. Doing the weeklies, that stuff bounces around so weird during the weeklies that it may drop overall week to week, but you may buy on a Monday, it may go up on a Tuesday, become worthless, drop again on a Wednesday, maybe you get your money back and then just end up flat. The weeklies are a much bigger gamble. I think if you're looking at a further time out, do something that's like in the money now, and then hope, and then just set that it's going to some date be dropping more. That's probably the best way to play them. Not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor. But unless you know for certain that this week is the week this stuff is going to tank, then don't bother with the weeklies. They're just kind of throwing your money away. I had just a few extra dollars, and I got a couple $74 puts on HYG weekly, and I lost it all. So, get what you pay for, I guess. Jethro. Thank you, Jethro. You're welcome to ask a question if you like. With your Canadian super chat there, I will answer it if I can. Rob, Houston, what are your plans for your streams during post-MOAS? Also, what's been some cool things you have learned from us over the past year? Gonna be a space pirate one day. Man, you guys teach me boatloads. I mean, whenever we do Google Earth stuff, I always learn something weird. That's for sure. But the folks, there's like 3 of you who especially send me current updates on the news constantly, and I got to meet one of them, Martin Weiss. When I was in Switzerland, I got to meet him, and he took me to lunch, and it was delicious. And then Jersey and William Morgan, like, you guys keep me so up to date on the current events that I may not have the chance to like suck on that information, and I appreciate that so much. Like, it's so much easier when the news comes to me, and I don't have to like go out and find it somewhere. Like today's show entirely is based upon stuff that William Morgan sent me today. So, yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful that you guys, that's like the best news service I could have, is that you just bring me all this stuff on a platter. Sometimes it's ridiculous. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's suspect news, but at least I can suss it out from there. And I really, really appreciate it. Otherwise, it takes so long to find all this information. But you guys just like, Houston, you'll probably find this interesting. Boing, and it just appears in front of me. It's amazing. But learn stuff on the show. Trying to think. What? Trying to think of something specific. My brain is totally drawing a blank. I feel like, if someone's a comedian, they're like, be funny. And they're like, your brain just goes blank. I'll think of something there. Lost Waves, Houston, what's up with your boy Gabe and Melvin? More like Mel out, am I right? Melvin, more like Mel out. I like that. Also, piano students Semper. Students Emper? Student Semper. What's up with your girl Lost Waves? Found waves. You guys. Okay. Marvin G, happy birthday, Houston. There's our first birthday of the day. That's the first one. Legacy 10 also asks, what are the top 5 shenanigans people should factor into their exit strategies during MOAS? And happy birthday. Ooh. What? That's a good thing to think about. Like, what are some of the shenanigans we should expect? Maybe clearing doesn't happen because your brokerage never gets the money. That might be something. Like, hey, they agreed to buy this thing for $100,000, and it turns out that the purchaser, the trading computer behind that, doesn't have any money. That would be something that might be concerning. What would be another one? Because a lot of shenanigans might be really, really hard to accomplish, because when those trading computers for the DTCC turn on, it's because those who are liable got wiped out. The hedge funds are done, the market makers are done, possibly entire investment banks and prime brokers are done. And so there's going to be forced buying. Essentially is that insurance money, quote unquote insurance money, and probably funds that are bailouts to these banks from the federal government and the Federal Reserve. So I'm not sure what shenanigans the hedge funds will be able to pull, because they've been liquidated. They're done. They have no power. They got no magic superpowers. They aren't the ones making decisions. Somebody else has like taken their keys from them and repossessed their car. So, that's a good question. If you guys think of other ones, throw them in the chat. I'd love to see what other possible shenanigans you could foresee seeing. I think clearing may be an issue. That, you know, these trading computers may be making purchases for shares to close positions and may not necessarily have the cash to handle those transactions yet. And we might see some issues with clearing on some of those. I think I got another dog hair in my dog. Dude, seriously, how? It is constant. All the time. Dog hair in my mouth. Sad Boy Incorporated, Houston. Is it possible to make skeevers from Skyrim real through the selective breeding of rats? How many generations would you estimate? 1,000? I never played Skyrim. My roommate did. He probably knows what the skeevers. Images. Oh, is it like a big rat? How big are they? Looks pretty big. Looks like a dog. I bet you could do it pretty quickly. I mean, because rats mate like crazy. They have a very short life cycle. They produce a lot of young. So if you selectively breeded really, really, really big rats together, you'd probably end up with like what are those things in Brazil? Monkey, the big things, the big rodent things. Come on, monkey, you know it. The big rodent things in Brazil. You'd probably end up with something like that. But man, a giant rat would be terrifying. It would only live for 2 years, so it'd be like big and dumb. But yeah, if you guys don't know, I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh shoot, I forgot to turn on the Google. Come on, where is it this? Yeah, there we go. What the? Oh, there we go. Big giant rat things from that video game. What was the thing from Princess Bride? The rodents of unusual size. That'd be these things, I reckon. Yeah, it looks like a big possum rat thing. 1,000 generations, I bet you could do it. Give it a whirl. Use your MOAS money to create skeevers and then release them in the sewers of New York or something. Well, that one was on. Capybaras, that's the word. Thank you. I was going to say chupacabra, but that's the wrong. Well, it's not after dark, but you got the after dark. Well, it's after the after dark. We are the after party. Ugh. All right. Eyeballs verify both ones have the button off when you do the intro. Okay. I got one day. This week. It wasn't. Shit. Okay. What was that question? That was Legacy 10. Okay. Get it got. Houston. Some have speculated that China is waiting on U.S. to implode before letting the bottom fall out of real estate, even more than it already has, and making the move to establish the yuan as world currency. Should this come to pass, what might happen to the price of gold and silver in the U.S.? It's an interesting tactic, and they are probably definitely scheming that way. For those of you who are just discovering this show for the first time, 1/3 of China's economy is real estate, and half the real estate market has completely collapsed. Home sales gone. All their big developers are bankrupt and can't pay their loans. And so basically China's lost 1/6 of its economy in the last, 10 months? And there was an announcement today, I was listening to the radio, that China lowered interest rates on mortgages as a way to spur home buying. But mortgages are such a tiny part of the real estate market. It wasn't even really possible for most people to get mortgages. You had to just pay a cash outright. So lots of families would pool their cash together and then purchase a home or condo that way. And loans weren't involved at all. I'm not sure who could even provide the lending at the moment. I imagine that if all these bonds are failing across the board, the banks are as well. So China must be in the printing stage. If they're offering mortgages for stuff, they must be printing money. And China does not do fiat. They declare the value of their currency and essentially tie it to the US dollar. Would China want to become the global currency? I think it might be a real bad idea for them. Because if the yuan gets strong, then their export market, which is what their entire economy is built on, vanishes. If you got a strong yuan, they're going to be looking for manufacturing elsewhere, because the whole point is you set your currency far below that of the US dollar, and then you get people moving their factories to your country for the cheap labor and the cheap export. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they're looking for some sort of post-industrialized move to a service economy, like what the U.S. did, after our initial boom in the post-war era. But even then, that's generated all sorts of weird problems for us. That, if you lay off all the factory workers, what do you have them doing in China? I don't think there's a large enough service economy, large enough market to handle that many people in a service economy. You're not a place that's safe to bank with, so you're not going to draw in foreign investment for banks. You can't get folks who want to buy bonds anymore. That's over. It's going to be 20 years before a foreign entity wants to purchase bonds willingly for China. Yeah. I wonder. There was apparently leaked video and audio from a secret meeting about invading Taiwan, which, China's been talking about invading Taiwan for 60 years. But, if they do it, they may mobilize. They may see the U.S. as particularly weak if our economy falls out through the bottom. So that may change all sorts of things. If a war happens in the South China Sea, then I think the world is at war at that point. It will be a global war, and it will suck. So I'm not sure what financial maneuvers would help for anybody if everyone's blowing up. But get it, gut. You do have my brain spinning. I am thinking about that. Like if the Chinese yuan is a global currency, and they're you're using it to trade for like petrodollars. I think their manufacturing just dies, and I don't know what they have to replace that manufacturing sector. I just don't. Richard White. Discuss Kenneth Griffin's Bloomberg chat, please. It's short. If you've not seen it yet, he is a waste of oxygen. I got sent the link. I have not had a chance to watch it yet. Basically, the comments I heard were unhinged, and that he's really mad. But I've not had a chance to watch it yet. I got the link. One of the viewers sent it to me. I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet. Probably should have before the show, but I didn't have time to sit down. I will watch it. And then I may do a Twitch tonight. We'll find out. A friend wanted to come watch a movie, so maybe I'll do a late night Twitch. Maybe I'll watch it by then. I can comment on it. Sorry, I haven't watched it yet, so I can't make a comment. Unpaid overtime. When do you think those huge repo loans will come back to a decent amount? When we're no longer pretending the economy is doing well. That's probably when the bottom falls out, banks start going under, hedge funds are getting vaporized, we're seeing unemployment skyrocket, and they go, you know what, the shit is at the fan, it's all over, repos are done. Because what the reverse repo is removing cash, which is considered a liability for these banks. They got too much cash, and replacing it with these treasuries. And if the Federal Reserve is storing $2 trillion every single night from these banks, that's $2 trillion that can be used to keep those banks afloat when the shit's the fan. So it may be a way of keeping those banks somewhat liquid, because if they tie those, if they use that cash to buy houses or give out loans or do other things, then they won't have the cash available at the last minute. So I think that we're seeing this push to $2 trillion in reverse repos as sort of a break glass in case of emergency type emergency fund. So yeah, I think we have to wait for everything to just. We are on the way. We're well on the way to land, but there's still a lot of bottom left to fall through. We've worked our way through several floors of the building, and we haven't even gotten to the basement or sub basement yet. We're on floor 10. We have a ways to go of just falling through these floors. So hold on to your butts. More to come. Say my name. Say it. Houston, you said you were working on a device that could tell you how much gold in a bucket of sand. You also said it could tell you viral count if aimed woman. Aimed at a woman, would it tell me if she has STD? You may be able to actually do that. The team at No Labs, so their device, the one they're working on is the glucose meter. First thing to take to market because that's a guaranteed market. But the idea is that you can program in the signature frequencies of all these different things, and as long as you know signature frequency, you should be able to get the parts per billion out of whatever you point this thing at. So if you want to scan somebody for a virus or for a bacterial infection or for heavy metal poisoning or whatever, you could do that. You can also point it at a wall and be like, oh, it's made of this much lead in the paint, or there's this much arsenic in that water, or something like that. That's the general idea that they have working. So yeah, you might be able to be like, and you've got the clap. You're on your own. I mean, the tricorder devices of Star Trek were pretty much that. So that I think is their ultimate goal. It's going to be pretty crazy technology when it's all done and out there and available. Okay, man, Houston, hope you're having a good day. Me too. I hope I'm having a good day too. Fried day. Never call it pint day. Daniel Batchelor, Houston, happy birthday. Can hedge funds buy millions and millions of calls in the 15 to 20 range and then start buying back, bring up the price, exercise those calls, and buy in that tight range to cover? I mean, they kind of push that liability onto the options market when we get those big weird gamma squeezes. Basically, they're super short, so Citadel Naked issues a whole bunch of shares for call options. Call options get bought up, and if it goes in the money, then they suddenly have to go find those shares again. So I don't know if they could afford to execute if they bought that many calls. Because if they shorted at $3, you don't want to close at 15 to 20. So they may generate cash by doing that. but I don't know if they'd execute. So the price might get up 15 to 20, and they make, $300 to $700 an option for 1 million options, and they generated $700 million in cash. They can use that cash to maintain their margin, their liquidity requirements for the day. But I don't think they could afford to then execute all those things for, $2 billion, whatever it would be. That might be a lot to expect from them. I don't know if they could execute that. But that's a good question, though. I do think that, when they did sell-offs, so they're doing sell-offs, they did, Walmart on Wednesday, Target yesterday. Walmart Wednesday, Target yesterday. I do have the feeling that when they do those sell-offs, before they do those sell-offs, they probably bought a bunch of puts. And then they went, okay, we got to sell this crap, generate cash. And it generated cash by selling, and it generated cash by having those puts print. And they're able to, live the fight another day. I have no doubt that is a method that they're using. William Morgan, Punch Protection Team worked hard to artificially pump up markets today and save Democrats for midterms. Not working. Everyone knows markets are going to crash. I think at this point the Plunge Protection Team is doing its best to cushion the blow. They're just pillows that the market is falling onto as it just tumbles down this mountain. It might be that we fall through that proverbial floor and we're landing on a pillow, and falling the proverbial floor, we're landing on another pillow and working our way down. This market, the bottom should have fallen out of this market a long time ago. So it's a testament to the actions of the Plunge Protection Team keeping that steep, awful decline from happening. But I don't know if we just rip the Band-Aid and let this thing crash and start building back up again, would it take 2 years to build out, to climb out? Or if we soften the blow for a year and then we crash, the inflation caused by that softening the blow might take it 5 years to climb out of this. Yeah. I'm sure we'll see it all when it happens. Probably know a lot more by this fall as to what terrible side we are on all of this. Steve Latham. Is there any truth to the voting shares being missing on people's brokerage accounts when they log in and vote on GME and AMC? Some people are saying they're missing shares. I have read this too, that someone I have 50 shares, but they'll let me vote 5 of them. I haven't verified that. When I voted, it seemed to be all of the shares that I had. So I don't know how valid that is. If anyone else has had that experience, jump in there. Tell me. I'd love to see. Oh, here comes all the happy birthdays. This is Craig Ilson. Happy birthday. Keith Davis. What is your stalker's name on Reddit? I think I had a run-on with him. Winged Rhino or something like that. He was a pilot-ish in the Air Force, so he pretends like he's a flying rhino, which I think is why they put a farting rhino with wings on my splash there. Yeah, just block and avoid that dude. He's nuts. He's absolutely bonkers. I don't know if you guys have seen. So, years ago, this guy, Brandon Bryant, he was a drone pilot in the Air Force, and go away. No, I don't want to subscribe. Dang it. He was a drone pilot in the Air Force, and I don't want to subscribe. Just give me my thing. Anyway, so he came out saying that basically hey, drone pilots have a lot of PTSD because they push buttons and watch people blow up, and that hurts their brains. And it does. I mean, you're completely disconnected. You're 8,000 miles from the conflict, and you're just like playing a video game with people's lives. And it kind of makes them a little Looney Tunes. And my stalker had also been a drone pilot, but he wasn't a drone pilot by choice. He got reprimanded and taken off of flight duty from real planes and sent to being a drone pilot, and eventually made to fly a desk. But his claim is that he had, my stalker's claim is that he had refused an illegal order to assassinate an American, and that's why they like made him fly a desk and took away his security clearance. And Brandon Bryant was like, that's not what happened. So the stalker made an entire documentary about Brandon Bryant. Just, he's a miserable piece of crap liar or whatever. And then recently, 2 years ago, took a bunch of video footage from Brandon's YouTube channel, selectively edited the video footage together to make it look like Brandon was threatening the lives of the Missoula City Council, and then called the police and had him arrested and charged with felony terroristic threat. So this poor dude went to jail and spent a year and a half in the trial process, and finally get to court, and it took the jury almost no time to acquit, because they're like, oh yeah, obviously this video was all edited and it was not his channel that sent the video to the police. And if you look at his actual videos, no, he wasn't threatening anybody. So they acquitted the poor guy, but he still spent like months in jail in a year and a half waiting trial to possibly be charged with felony terroristic threat for threatening to murder a bunch of people, all because manufactured evidence against him by our stalker. It's just like, dude, get a life, man. Go live your own life. Quit trying to climb inside everybody else's and just fuck with them. Like, you spend all your time trying to frame people for crimes and get them arrested, or spout a bunch of bullshit on the internet hoping that some person even crazier than you is going to go, you know what, I'm going to go kill that person. It's stochastic terrorism. It's stalking. It's harassment. It's tortious interference. It is a whole bunch of things. And, a crazy dude living in his van in the middle of nowhere, spending 18 hours a day tweeting about me 1,000 times a day, sending unsolicited messages to every single solitary person who has ever interacted with me on the internet, is ridiculous. It is just a waste of time and energy. And seriously, dude, go see a therapist, get some Thorazine, and acknowledge your mental illness. That's just, it is stressful, dude. It is just freaking stressful, awful, daily, relentless onslaught. And I wish that Twitter, as crappy as Facebook is, I wish Twitter's blocking mechanism worked like Facebook's blocking. On Facebook, you block somebody, if you make a comment on a post, they don't see it. And then they don't see any of the comments below that, because that is associated with you, your stalker, whoever you block doesn't see it. On Twitter, you comment on something. If someone replies to you, like my stalker can't see my original post, but he can see every single solitary post that replies to me, and he responds to every single solitary post of anyone who interacts with me on Twitter. And the fact that I've got, almost 8,000 followers on Twitter means there's 8,000 people who either all have to block him or put up with being spammed the same message over and over and over, and Twitter does nothing about it. You can make, this is harassment. Twitter's like, well, this is spam. Twitter's like, it might be the same message 500 times in 60 minutes, but it doesn't look like spam to us. It's just, it's exhausting. I'm tired. I'm so tired of that guy. So very tired. But yes, best thing you can do is if Ringed Rhino or Pick Battles or any of his other stupid things, he's probably has dozens of accounts, pops up, just block. And you won't have, if you block him now, you won't have to deal with him like I do and have him tweet about you 1,000 times a day. Okay. So, moving on to happier things. Stalkonator, hey Houston, happy birthday. When do you think Ryan will come finish buying his 6 million shares? Yeah. You'd think he'd want to get them before they do the dividend, right? And what is it? What's the, how many days do you have to fill out your 13F if you bought more? 13, is it 13G? I can't remember which one it is if you're an insider. It's one of those. but we haven't really seen price action. Maybe a little bit yesterday. We saw a big zoop right at the end. But we haven't seen price action as if he's doing those 100,000 orders through lit markets yet. Maybe he's waiting for next week. Maybe he's waiting to push the stock up really big just before. Excuse me. The hiccups all of a sudden. Maybe he's waiting to do a push right before the shareholders meeting. I mean, we can all speculate and stroke our chins and go, only he knows. We don't. He's got a whole. He probably has like plans written out in boards and strings going to things, and he probably knows, but he's not going to let us know because that would be insider information. Jay Corinth Cobb. Today is my birthday. Happy birthday, Jay. It's someone's birthday in here. There we go. William Morgan, May 20th, 2022. 23 plus hedge funds just got margin called. Yes. So apparently there's like a quarterly tally of margin that hedge funds have to obey. And it is about, was it T45? Something like that they have to do. And so the end of the quarter is June 30th. And so they're getting margin called now for assets for this quarter, leading into the next quarter before it gets recalibrated. And so, yeah, we might see some huge sell-offs of a lot of stuff coming. Bacone, Houston is a squeeze close. I think so, man. I think so. Michael Harrow, Houston, if Elon votes oil and coal loving Republicans, doesn't he hurt Tesla because it's focused on solar and wind? Yeah. I mean, that would seem to be the case, right? Battery backups, solar tiles for your house. That seems to be his business model. But I think he cares more about not paying taxes and crushing unions than he does about his actual business model. That seems to be kind of the vibe I'm getting, is that he's like, screw you, unions. And that's probably a big turn. That, and I think Peter Thiel has his ear. And Peter Thiel is a straight up Bond villain and absolute evil monster. So, and they were partners on PayPal together back in the day. And Peter Thiel's turned full, like, I don't know, Nazi is the term, I guess. I mean, he's funding white supremacist groups. He's having weird meetings with them. He's funding their campaigns for offices and places, which is really strange because he's a gay man. And I've never really understood, like, when a gay man fights so hard to get people elected who, if they had full power, would put them into a camp and execute them. It seems like a really strange fetish, if you ask me. Like Ernst Röhm in the brown shirts, they were all super gay and they had giant gay orgies all the time. And they're like, woo, Hitler, yeah, it's gay orgy, woo. And then the Night of the Long Knives came along and all of them got killed by their fellow Nazis. I don't know what goes on someone's head to vote for the leopard ripping on my face off party, and then their face gets ripped off by the leopards. I don't know. There's something psychological in there that I just don't understand. And apparently reports were that Peter Thiel was who nudged Elon into buying Twitter, and that's worked out great. I mean, Elon's lost a third of his wealth. The value of Twitter has plummeted. He managed in his deal to sign away due diligence. It's like literally he wrote, I will not do any due diligence. I will just buy this company. And now he's complaining. He's doing due diligence and complaining about what he finds. And Twitter's like, yeah, dude, you sign that away. So either buy the company for $54 a share or give us $1 billion or possibly more in fines. I think Elon is the one who's lost big time on this one compared to Twitter. It looked early like Twitter was like, oh no, we're going to get taken over. And now Twitter's like popping champagne bottles and going, idiot. Yeah, so I don't know. People vote against their interests all the time. And of course, the chat just reset as it does constantly. Where are we? Where I lost my spot again. Get It Got also says massive candles at 4 p.m. for a ton of stocks. Apple, Costco, GM, Microsoft, pretty much every one I've checked. Huh. Let's I'll look at my own little thing here. And yeah, there's like little zip-zops for all of them. Starbucks, they all every single blue chip had a dip and a scoop. It's the same graph almost as crypto. Crypto did the same thing. So, BTC is also back down to 20,000, 29,000 again. It broke. At this morning it was at 28. So Bitcoin was down. Interesting. Yeah, all the blue chips have the exact same graph. It's really weird, like when you pile up your list and you look at the graphs, and some days all the blue chips have the exact same graph, and then you look at the meme stocks and they're like going all over the place weird, and then other days all the meme stocks have the exact same graph and the blue chips are doing random things. It's like they can only pay attention to one class of stock at a time, and outside of that they can't, like, there's no reason that General Electric should have the exact same graph as Alibaba today, but they do. There's no reason that Wells Fargo and Twitter should have the same chart. It doesn't make any sense. Why do those have the same chart? And if you look at the meme stocks today, they're just bouncing around all over the place. It's really weird. Craig Ilson, Houston, what doing? When be big squeeze? I think because we didn't see any real price action leading up to the date of record, which was on Wednesday. So my guess is we might be looking at a Newegg situation where 3 months down the road we might see something. I don't know. I would have thought that it would have push bigger right now. But the Tide stock, I think, is hot boys and girls. Are they with us? Even losers, fucking girls with us. Oh, well, we got some wonderful. It's not the hot boys and girls, but I think they're related. And I think they're implying that you're all losers. It might be true. I don't know. Thank you, Hiproja-san, for hiding that one. Even losers. Oh. Marketing, people. Some amazing marketing. But yeah, I think we might be looking at maybe a Newegg type situation. But Newegg snuck up on us. They were not seen as like a squeeze play, and kind of just one day they're at $77. We're like, what the what? But BBig has definite focus by retail investors as a squeeze play. So we may be looking at either MOAS or 3 months down the line after these Tide shares are given out in May 27th? Was that next Friday? Next Thursday. 27th, next Friday. And I'm not sure we'll see price action leading up to those dividend shares. But my guess is BBig was incredibly shorted via borrowed stocks. It was reported short interest at one point was like 270%, which is just nuts. And unless those guys were actually closing positions, which was not reflected in the price going higher, it was only going lower, which makes you think they were shorting even more, then the cash value of those Tide shares can be sent to the lending institutions as a payment in lieu for that dividend. And those lending institutions are going to have to pay taxes on it. They have to pay a boatload of taxes on those Tide shares. And those things are coming in at 10 or 15 bucks a share. So if you lent out 10 million BBig, you are probably looking at $10 million that has to be taxed, right? Because if it's 1 share per, or 10 shares per Tide, it'll come out to 1 million Tide shares worth at 10 million bucks, 15 million bucks. Yeah, you're looking at a pretty hefty tax bill. Andrew Stewart, Houston, do you think you have any viewers that aren't apes and just come here for the awesome science? No? I would hope that we'd get more that are here for other things. That was my goal with the treasure hunt, was like, hey, if I do this treasure hunt, I can like get some hype and news and draw in like more diverse crowds, and we can learn them about all sorts of things. And then that was a miserable failure. And so no, my plan to draw in bigger crowds did not play out the way I wanted it to. So I think pretty much all of you are are ape related or ape adjacent, that's for sure. Boris Raspy, can you please discuss Mullen? Mullen, I don't know what's to discuss there. They're still, I think, languishing. Yeah, they had a bit pop at the end. Went from $1.02 to $1.10 there at the close. They're still floundering. They're certainly down from their big highs in the fall, where they're at $13. Mullen's biggest problem is semiconductors. You need 2,000 semiconductors per car to produce a car, and they don't have a production system set up yet. So they're definitely the low man on the totem pole when it comes to receiving semiconductors in this, supply chain constrained society we're in. I mean, it's so bad right now. Supply chain's so bad just for auto manufacturers in general that people can't get new cars, so they're going to the used car market. In the used car market, prices have inflated just insanely in the used car market. And that has resulted in people taking their janky cars they want to get rid of and being forced to take them to the mechanics to get repaired. And where I live right now, it's like August. It's the next time you get an appointment with a mechanic. It's nuts, which sucks because my crappy Oldsmobile Aurora has some sort of electrical gremlin and I can't figure it out and I can't start the stupid thing. And I have no working car. It's just, like, yeah, we get you in August. I'm like, that's 3 months away. What am I supposed to do until then? Oh, buy a really expensive used car that also will be broken? I don't know. So Mullen's big problem is that they can't sell anything. They can't get any products out the door. They've got some tech they might be able to license, but they don't have the capability to manufacture that tech. So they may be able to license battery or charging technology to another company and make money off of that. But I don't think that's going to generate the type of revenue they need. So they may be stuck and being forced into a debt spiral if they can't get manufacturing up, and that's all going to come down to those semiconductors. So I think that's what we're waiting on. Father Ted Creeley speaking. Biden equals weak and effective president. Bidet, strong, effective arse cleaner. When will MMTOP pay for my golden bidet, Houston? Will it ever happen? As I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to refrain from answering metamaterial questions because my brother asked me to, and I'm going to honor that. But someday, there. Drew, it's so hot in Georgia and I work in a warehouse. Ugh. It is so cold here. Come work in a warehouse here. The weather's fine. Go GFund YYC Houston. I'm thinking of buying some Apple puts. I feel like once the forced liquidations start happening before the end of quarter, Apple may, I have the hiccups and they won't go away. Apple may have a lot of long exposure. Yeah. There's been talk about Apple being the next one on the cutting block. I mean, they did Amazon, they did Tesla, they did Microsoft, they did Facebook, they did Twitter, they did Netflix, they did DocuSign. Who else got hammered recently? They've attacked a lot of them, and for a lot of folks, I think Apple's been sort of the sacred cow. They're like, oh, you don't touch Apple. Apple is always going to be good. But it wasn't that way in the 80s. They shorted Apple down to 25 cents a share back in the 80s. If you had bought one share of Apple September 12th or September 10th, 2001, just before the World Trade Center, that one share is worth like several $1,000s now. If you had bought instead of buying an iPod for $299, bought Apple stock instead, it's worth like $100,000 now. So there's something to be said. Apple can be attacked. It's just that for the last 20 years, Apple's had so much cash on hand that no one dared. But if consumer sentiment is falling off and they can't get stuff built because of the processors and semiconductor shortage, a lot of big companies that were untouchable before may get shorted because they can't deliver on products. So, and if their products are too expensive, people won't be buying them. Well, hold on to that phone for an extra year rather than buying a new one because it's just so expensive. Cameron Mirza, is there a diesel shortage in Washington State? Someone else posted something like, "Oh, Washington State ran out of gasoline." Not that I know of. Haven't seen any headlines about it. Like oil price has gas stations in Washington State running out of fuel. Daily Mail from England. Gas stations in Washington reprogram pumps to prepare for $10 gallon fuel, and then our local news is like, no, it's not happening. So I can't find any legit news sources that are local that even comes with that. The ones I have seen is that the East Coast, it might be running into problems with diesel supply. Love's and Pilot truck stops basically put out a warning last week that was like, we might run out of diesel fuel in the coming weeks altogether. And that's the one I've heard. Washington State, not so much. Maybe people may be confusing Washington State with Washington, D.C. That happens also. Taj. We get Northeast running out of diesel fuel happening here in the news. Diesel and jet fuel costs skyrocketing. So if you guys don't know why diesel and jet fuel costs are skyrocketing, it has to do with natural gas. So you need low sulfur content in when you distill jet fuel, kerosene, heating oil, diesel, and there's only really one region that produces low sulfur crude oil, and that is coming from Nigeria and Angola. And those two countries aren't able to up their production of oil because they don't have the infrastructure in place to do it, or the manpower, or the tech, or anything. And so their production levels are pretty stagnant. They aren't going to grow anymore. So if you get fuel from elsewhere and you send it to a refinery, you have to pull the sulfur out of it. And to do that, you pump natural gas through, and there's a process that happens. It basically sucks the sulfur out of that fuel. And Europe especially can't refine diesel because their natural gas supply comes from Russia, and Russia and them are kind of at war, so they're not getting the natural gas supply they need to refine diesel. And so many vehicles in Europe run on diesel. They don't have the same particulate concerns in Europe, so a lot of small cars are diesel powered. They get fantastic gas mileage, you get 80 miles per gallon in some of those cars. Than the U.S., where we're much more gasoline centered, and so the U.S. big rigs and ships and trains, those things are all going to run on diesel and are going to be affected. But the average consumer isn't going to face that quite in the same level as Europe is. Europe is really diesel heavy. And they just don't have the natural gas right now. And they don't have especially Germany doesn't have the liquefied natural gas ports to take in imports, which is really silly because one of the biggest exporters of liquefied natural gas in the world is Norway, and they're like right across the water. So they're frantically right now building a liquefied natural gas seaport in the North Sea take in that liquefied natural gas from around the world. But because diesel is so constrained in Europe, supply and shipment of diesel around the world is being really messed with as far as that's concerned, and which is just causing a global shortage in general. Because if you can get a higher price in Europe, you'll send it over there, right? Which means prices are going to have to come up here to compete, and we are now in this battle for diesel fuel. But yeah, so that's where we are. But I've not heard of any diesel shortage here at all. East Coast is all the news that I've seen. That's legit. I can't verify those other ones, but all the local news here is like there's no diesel problems here. Okay. Paratarian, hey man, started to think you hit it big and stopped streaming. How's the ear canal? Still farty? For those of you unaware, I was sitting up on my bed reading something, and the big dog was next to me, and he got up and turned and went into my ear hole, and like I literally could feel the tiny hairs in my ear tickling from his hot gassy butt. And just, ew, big dog, gross. Don't. Never want to experience that again. The Aviation Channel, Houston, was the moon landing a hoax? Asking for a friend. Happy birthday. No, the moon landing happened. We can literally look through a telescope and see the lunar rover on the surface of the moon. We can see footprints. We can see the tracks left by the lunar rover. We even have mirrors on the moon that we place that we can hit with lasers. The moon landing happened. Mm-hmm. Drew, is the plunge team just wasting money and causing worse inflation to put off pain temporarily and save their hedgy buddies another day? I think so. That's kind of my take. Just rip this Band-Aid off, man. Bad stuff's gonna happen. Why soften the blow? Just accept our fate and go with it there. Bex, hey Houston, happy birthday. Awesome shirt, very 80s. It probably is from the 80s, I bet. Tell me, how do the singing rocks at Singing Rocks National Park work? And where else are they found? I've never been to Singing Rocks National Park, nor do I know. There's like talking sands or barking sands that happen in places where when you walk, it goes squeak, 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 squeak. And that just happens to be the friction of the way the sand is shaped, rubbing on the other sand. But Singing Rocks National Park. I don't know where that one is. There's Ringing Rocks County Park. Ringing Rocks? Is that what you meant? Ringing Rocks County Park? I don't know a Singing Rocks Park. Singing Rocks National Park. I don't see any on here, so I have no idea. Send me a link because I don't see a Singing Rocks National Park anywhere. Meow meow. Look up the buttered cat array. A buttered cat will, when released, quickly move to a height where the forces of a cat twisting and butter repulsion are in equilibrium. What? I don't know what this is. Buttered cat array. When a cat is dropped, it always lands on its feet. And when toast is dropped, it always lands on the butter side face. Oh, this is this thing, the perpetual motion machine of putting butter on the cat's back so that it constantly spins forever. Yes. I remember that. There's like a perpetual motion machine image. Where was it? Yeah, I think it was this one. So put buttered toast and attach them to a generator and I like that one. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Hey, I'm only an hour behind the chat. I finally just got to like start of the show. Just in my head, hear about the enormous forest, ancient forest discovered inside an enormous sinkhole in China. The pictures look right out of the land of the lost. Yeah, those are really cool. Someone sent me pictures of it. Giant sinkhole found in China. 630-foot deep sinkhole. Like how do they just find these things? Always blows my mind. They have pictures? Here we go. Big old sinkhole. Hey, where'd you go? Come back. Get back here. Can you make me register for this crap? I hate paywalls. Just like what I want is like a LexisNexis or a university thing. Like I can pay $30 a month, give me access to every newspaper there is. Just I don't want to like register for 50 newspapers around the world. There you go. The Guardian's free at least. Okay. Ancient forest found bombed giant sinkhole. Look at that thing. Look how dark and menacing that is. So, how old is it? Doesn't say, but there's ancient forest down there, so it must be fairly old. 192 meters deep, so 600 plus feet. Huh. Yeah, it's really cool. The ones in Vietnam are awesome also. Where these huge limestone formations are, do some really rad stuff. But yeah, I dig it. Just in my head, Elon's starting a describe your predator's junk trend on Twitter. Ugh. Never get to a point in life where your lizard brain is so much stronger than you are that somebody has to describe what your wiener looks like to a police officer or a prosecutor or a reporter. And I think the first t-shirt I make, if I ever sell any merch, is going to be stronger than your lizard brain. Please, people, be stronger than your lizard brain. You can do it. I know you can. You have the power. The power is within you to just not be gross. Get consent. It might not fit the weirdness of whatever sexual perverse fantasy you have, but it's the next best thing. So at least get consent before you are gross. Be like, hey, would it be okay if we were gross together? And the person's like, do it. Then have at it. But if you just whip out your schlong and go, that's not consent and it's gross. So don't do that. Be stronger than your lizard brain. Please. For the love of all that's holy, be stronger than your lizard brain. Dan Summit drove through Jerome, Arizona, saw a 100-year-old copper mine. Sedona area is wicked cool. Mountains, mesas, such a cool part of the country. Jerome was rad. When Jerome was a legit ghost town 25, 30 years ago, I mean, seriously, you drive through that place and there was no one. Now it's kind of hip and some like hippies have moved in, artists, and there's actually like a school district and stuff now. So it's like a ghost town in that people live there and do business there, and it's a functioning town, but it's old. It was really cool a long time ago. It's my favorite thing in Sedona. Favorite place to go to is this place that's called Slide Rock. It's basically the river has carved this perfectly smooth channel through bedrock, and there's like algae that grows on it, and you just slide down it like a water slide. You just play in this warm river, and it's pretty nice. I did that. That was fun. That was a long time ago. But yeah, it's a beautiful part of the country, and Arizona is the copper state. They produce a boatload of gold too, but copper was their main thing. Meow meow. If Tesla drops 600 more bucks, the share price will be realistic. Yeah. How many shares of Tesla? Outstanding shares Tesla. Oops. That's not what I want. I want to put an S in there. Tesla. There we go. 1.157 billion. So how many? 2021 Tesla revenue. Tesla revenue was 58 billion, which is pretty decent. It's getting up there now. So I mean, that put their valuation at what? $250 billion. That's pretty realistic. 250 billion. So with 1.157 billion. Let's go calculator. Turn off the Chrome. Turn on the calculator. 250 billion, I think, is legit. Divide that by 157. Oops, shit! I did 250 million. Oh, stupid Houston. Stupid Houston being stupid Houston. 250 billion. There we go. Divided by 1157. Ding, 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 ding. So $216 a share. That's probably where it should be. So we're still above that. And remember, we're still part of like a slow squeeze that's happened with Tesla because so many folks shorted it. Because it was, it was valued at $1 trillion, several $1 trillion, and no. So they shorted it, but then too many shorted it, and we get to that horrible analogy I use of the coyotes and deer. Like, if there are too many coyotes, they're gonna eat all the deer, and then you're stuck. You have a short squeeze on deer, and that's what they've had. They've had a long, drawn out short squeeze, but I think that might be over. We might be drawn to a close on that at this point. So, you might see it drop below 216 and then bounce back up again. And so I may do a sinusoidal curve as a result for a while, bounce back and forth until it finds steady. But it's definitely overvalued. But it's overvalued for a couple reasons. One, Elon is a cult of personality, and two, there's been a long squeeze going on. Bitcoin. Worldwide wheat shortage starts end of 2022, beginning of 2023. Low-income countries will get hammered. Energy and food costs going up. Yep. Remember a couple months ago, might have been at the beginning of the war, I said, look for China to become a net wheat exporter. Well, it was revealed that China currently holds 63%, 69% of all the globe's grain storage. So they have it all. And I wouldn't doubt that they're going to be doing deals to basically import all of Russia's wheat exports. And then they will then sell at a premium to everybody else. Got my crystal ball out in that one. The low-income countries are really going to get hit hard. And then India announced that they will not be exporting any wheat this year. And it was kind of assumed that India would be able to pick up some of the slack on wheat exports, and a lot of countries are going to get hurt really hard because they don't have the capacity to grow those grains, and you've got steep famine risks in Africa where ongoing drought is happening. Famine's going to be a real concern coming up this next year. I think we're going to see a lot of sad pictures of really hungry people who are struggling, and so prepare. If we're those of you on here, most of us are in rather developed nations that have a little bit more food security, but even then we will get hit with prices because there's going to be competition for that food, and no matter how much the U.S. government will subsidize, they may not have the power to subsidize enough to keep us from being affected by those prices. So the end of the world's looking real expensive. That's for sure. No one told you about the apocalypse being expensive, but I think that's a big part of it. Online entity, did you watch Al from Boston's 1 hour vid on his investigation? No, I didn't. I had a nice cordial relationship with Al. I did a show with him. He was very nice to me. But this comes back to the lizard brain thing. Like, don't be gross and harassy and with women in the movement. Just, I can't support that. I can't be like, oh, I can always forgiven. Don't be gross with women. Just don't. Get your consent. Get your consent to be gross, and then you can be gross. But without that consent, just don't. Don't stalk them. Don't harass them. Don't threaten them. I just can't. I can't bring myself. Like, I'm not gonna go watch the Cosby Show. Even though it was like my favorite show growing up, I just can't bring myself to watch it. I can't listen to the Cosby albums. I don't enjoy Louis C.K. anymore. I just, there's a certain line, and I just can't find myself someone who can enjoy art or research or something from that. I can get sources from elsewhere that perhaps don't be gross to women. G-Font YYC. Check the new too many abbreviations. Check the new GME SEC filing. It's a conflict minerals disclosure. You know of a thing or two about minerals. Hey, Rock God. I wonder. Perhaps their branding perhaps ended up with like coltan or tin from conflict area. GME SEC conflict minerals disclosure. That's 2012, 220, 2018. There's one from 2018 here. Is it just a redo? Okay. This is 2018. Oh, you guys can't see. Duh. Okay. Chief Financial Officer. This form SD GameStop companies filed accordance with Rule 13P. The Securities Exchange Act 1934. Blah blah blah. Conflict minerals. Reporting period from January 1st to blah 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 blah. Terms used to find companies. Conflict minerals report for the reporting period. Okay, where's the report? Signature. But so the attached mineral report, but where's the mineral report? I don't see the mineral report. Oh, you guys can't see this either because I just realized I'm still on the calculator. There we go. It's been a long week. Not bringing my A game today, folks. Especially with the computer showing images. Okay, there's news.GameStop. Is that going to be in there? I don't see the conflict report actually attached to this thing. The Fintel. So let's just see if they have anything in the news.GameStop. Quarterly results, webcast. Do I want quarterly results? I want recent reports. No. SEC filings. There we go. Specialized disclosure report. Can that be it? Let's see what you have to say. Specialized disclosure. Conflict mineral report by items. Here we go. That sells both products manufactured by third parties as well as products developed. Blah blah blah. Conflict mineral program. We take our social responsibilities very seriously and committed to sourcing products from other companies that share our values. Integrity, environmental responsibility. We take disclosure very seriously. One of the first steps we undertook developing our conflict minerals program is to implement conflict minerals policy. Policy is that blah 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 blah. Supply chain overview. So this is just talking about where they're getting their resources from, or where their third parties perhaps are getting resources from. and not necessarily saying what conflict minerals are in these products. Risk mitigation. So it looks like just kind of like a plan. For those who don't know, we can go to the Google Earth for this one. Wait, back there to the Google Earth. Come on. So most coltan, tin, cobalt comes from this region here in Africa. You got Congo, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, a little bit of South Sudan in there. Big part of it in the Congo jungle. And it comes from these regions for a couple reasons. One, it is extremely environmentally costly to mine things like coltan and tin, especially cobalt. Cobalt leaves behind radioactive dust from the process in the ore slag piles, and those have definite implications for health defects and diseases in people. Also, it's expensive to mine, and if you've got a whole bunch of slave labor, it's really cheap. And lots of children, lots of slaves from warlords. The people who generally control this stuff can be juntas, warlords, smugglers, just bad news folks. And it is the dirty open secret that in order to make processors and circuit boards and semiconductors, you need these minerals. So there's been this mineral conflict stuff set up for all these nations, and they these companies try to do a good job supposedly, but they may not necessarily actually do a very good job. You can have instances where a warlord in the Congo comes across the border with big old bags of coltan, tin, cobalt, etc., and they bring it to Rwanda. And then they pay somebody to say, hey, this came from this mine in Rwanda, and they can sell it legitimately, even though it came from like child labor somewhere across the border in the Congo. So I wonder if we can see any of these mines here. These are some of the cities in the middle of the jungle, but might not have high enough resolution to see some of the mines. This might be here. Is that clouds or those mines? Clouds. But a lot of it's just literally like someone with a shovel digging into a cliffside until they pass out is how a lot of stuff gets mined. And so there's a lot of smuggling back and forth in bribery and slave trade and all sorts of stuff that happens in the coltan tin. I mean, your computer and cell phone and whatever you're watching me on right now, television, a lot of that stuff was not obtained legitimately, which is a big bummer. But there you go. So yeah, that's why they have the reports, is that they're trying to do their due diligence in sourcing their material correctly, but you can never guarantee. You can be like, oh, I went to this factory in China. They said that they had a good process. They presented me this paperwork, and they said I got it from this guy, and then this guy made it all up too. So it could be like five steps down the line. So there. That's the big reason behind it. Oh, now I finally got to the point where I double introed and you guys are just skewering me. Okay. Mark Sloan, what do you think of Ken Griffin talking to Bloomberg about us being responsible for taking teachers' pensions by killing Melvin? Why would the teachers' pensions invest in Melvin? They should just not invest in a hedge fund and just put their money into mutual funds. That's the responsible thing to do. Or just straight up buy stock in a company. But no, it's not our fault those teacher funds got eviscerated. It's Melvin's fault. It's Ken's fault that those teacher funds got eviscerated. You know what? I think if I take my allergy pill today, that's my voice is failing me early. They're the ones who decided to use those assets to overly short stocks. That's their decision. So, excuse me. My voice is failing me. So yeah, it's totally their fault. Not ours. We are victims too, you know. The guy worth $25 billion is not the victim. He is the perpetrator. And he should be seen as that. Screw you, Ken Griffin. You the one who lured those teachers in to go over to Plotkin and Melvin and then watch all their money disappear. Oops. Yeah, amazing how that works. Okay. Daniel Motes, quick question, Houston. How can I convince a stubborn person that GME is a great investment even as the economy is going bust? I mean, the simplest way of doing it is explain to them how hedge funds work. The hedge funds, they buy bonds and blue chips as collateral, as assets under management, as sort of their base, their foundation. And then they borrow on that collateral using margin to then make short plays to generate cash. And those short plays have involved shorting companies like GME, AMC, BBig, Metamaterial, Torchlight, Bed Bath & Beyond, BlackBerry, you name it. There's a whole bunch of companies in there that have been heavily shorted. And they drive that price down by creating more and more fake shares. More and more fake shares, they drive that price down. More and more fake shares, drive that price down. And the goal is to get to zero. Because if they get to zero and the company goes bankrupt, they never have to buy back anything, and they never have to pay taxes on all the cash they made by selling these fake shares. And what happened was a whole bunch of retail investors, thanks to Keith Gill, became wise to the scheme finally after 30 years of it taking place, and went, hey, what if instead of panic selling when the price drops in these things, we seize an opportunity, we buy it up even more. And so that's what we did. We bought. And we went from 10,000 retail investors in GameStop to millions in just a matter of weeks. And the price went through the roof. Now, if the price stays through the roof, while assets under management drop for these hedge funds, then the hedge funds get margin called. And they've got to sell, either generate cash somehow or sell their assets under management and close their GME position. So when the market drops and these guys are forced to sell off everything and then buy GameStop, GameStop goes up. So GameStop is a hedge against the rest of the market dropping. It's a one big play and then done. And that's kind of that's how it works. So, spend 5 minutes drawing pictures for your friend, explaining assets under management and margin and how that all works. And that's probably the best way you can do it. Dark Latin, Houston, how deep do I have to dig to build a bomb shelter to survive what's coming? Not too deep. I mean, the blast wave's going to sweep over the surface if you get nuked, right? So you don't have to worry about, some topsoil will blow off or whatever. But as long as you're below that in a concrete bunker, possibly lead lined, you're probably good. And any fallout that happens will be on the surface and won't have made it down to you unless it percolates through the water and somehow gets into your system. I lived in a house a few years ago that had a bomb shelter. It was very rudimentary, but it was like 3 foot thick concrete walls, had water and drainage. So I guess you just had to just whiz down the drain. I don't know. Didn't have a bathroom in it, but it was built in the late 70s, and they're like, oh, we can use it as a wine cellar / bomb shelter if we have to. That was kind of neat. Kind of wish I had it now. I was living there when that warning went out to Hawaii about a missile being launched from North Korea that was supposed to be just be like a test between computer guys, but then they accidentally sent it out to like all the residents of Hawaii. So all their cell phones were like, "We're under attack. Find shelter." What? So I was kind of glad I was living in the bomb shelter house back then. Now I don't. I'm on top of a hill, and I'm just gonna get wiped out. So it was nice knowing you. Hope the dogs and the cat can survive off of my corpse once it's all said and done. And there we go. Guitar stuff. Houston had birthday. What do the Mariners need to do to right the ship? Also, Lion Trader on YouTube says the DTCC fund is locked up in the market, so the money isn't really there. Thoughts? Well, yeah, it's definitely locked up in the market. That's why there'd be massive sell-offs. So the market, in order to pay us, two things have to happen. One is printing. The Federal Reserve's got to print. And two, everyone else got to sell off. And to whom? Well, no one's there to buy, so the prices are going to be real low and discounts. So when we do finally get our money, if you want to make your money back twice over, then you buy blue chips, and it will go right back up again once we have all our money and we start buying stuff back. So that's kind of at least the way it works out in my head. Just in my head, it says, "Hey HW, love how you can be so apocalyptic without becoming a miserable cynic. How do you walk that line? For me, it's my faith." Absurdity, like I'm powerless, so all I can do is just go, some people's children, man. So absurdity is pretty much the only thing that... we got sex chat adult dating site. You know, I miss the hot boys and girls, but I'm glad that they found some more ability to... Do you guys want to sponsor my show? Like, do you want to like send me a bunch of money and I will advertise your adult website for you? I'll do that. Just gotta show me that green so I can buy some more GME, and I'll gladly be like, everybody go to sexychat.xyz and get your hot sexy chat down. But I'm not gonna say that now. You don't deserve to go there because you're not paying me. But yeah, just in my head, absurdity. I mean, I think one of the most beautiful things that the propaganda side of Ukraine has managed to do, their social media, is just throughout the horror of that war and the atrocities that happened, have shown the absurdity of the other side. One of the things I saw that Jersey showed me was that so the Ukrainians overran a Russian position and discovered that the Russians had used a bunch of bags of ammonium nitrate as sandbags to fortify their position. If you don't know what ammonium nitrate is, it's a fertilizer that's very explosive. So explosive that it blew up Beirut a couple years ago. And it was used as a bomb to blow up the Oklahoma City bombing, the Oklahoma City federal building. And it's what miners use to blow up rocks. Like they'll pack ammonium nitrate instead of dynamite into drill holes and blow out rocks. Very explosive, as well as a fertilizer. It's a nitrogen fertilizer. So you just have to go, it's just a laugh. Like, yeah, it's the end of the world, but at least I'm not a Russian conscript who's using bags of explosives as a to fortify my position in a foxhole. What else can you do? You just go, well, it's out of my power. So it's a good question, though. Why am I so blasé about the end of the world? What else are you gonna do? Wait, wasn't someone asking? Did I get to the Mariners questions? I think I read somebody asking a Mariners question, and then I don't know if I answered it, or did I just read it in my head and not get there because a green question popped up. Somebody's asking about how to right the ship, and where'd that question go? How come I can't see it now? Shoot. Sorry, there was a question about righting the ship for the Mariners, and I don't know what happened to it. Shoot. Sorry about that. I mean, pitching. Mariners have part of a decent pitching staff, and that's about it. Pitching. Oh, there it is. Guitar stuff. Houston, happy birthday. What do the Mariners have to do to right the ship? Also, Lion Trader says the DTCC is the full up. So I didn't have the Mariners part. I just the DTCC part. The Mariners part is the Mariners need pitching. That is, let me look at SeattleMariners.com. See what their stats are right now, because I haven't looked in a couple of days. Stats. And there's still 5 games out below 500. Talk baseball here. So team batting average is pretty miserable. We've got Ty France doing well, J.P. Crawford doing well, and everyone else just sucking ass. Tom Murphy's doing okay, but he's not playing very often. Doesn't have very many at-bats. But for the most part, the team is garbage. Mitch Haniger, he's been battling injuries. Jared Kellenick's not doing it. They are just... Oh, you guys can't see the stats. Here we go. Forgot. I got bing. And pitching was... Like last year, they had a garbage batting too. They were just getting destroyed by everybody. Their run differential was terrible. Go on, pitching. And then pitching wise, if we go by starting pitchers, Gilbert Logan's doing all right. Robbie Ray, for a Cy Young winner, he's not doing that hot. We've got a few in the bullpen doing well, but for the most part, don't give me all the ERA, not just. Give me 3 at a time. Is that how we do this? Dang it! All right, screw you. I hate your. Anyway, it also has been friggin' cold here. The Mariners always seem to play poorly when it's really cold. They do. And it's just, if you're playing games outside and it's just cold, no one wants to be there, and it's just miserable, and you're not warmed up, and I don't think it favors the home team in that case. A lot of days with the roof closed. And, yeah. Anyway, most people don't care about sports stuff. We'll move on. Super Steve, is there a way to confirm or get a ballpark idea what the actual short interest short share count is for GME? We've discussed a few times, and we had Get It Got in here earlier. I don't know if he's still around. So a couple of ways we calculated it is the first way I think people were doing it was some nations in Europe give you a share count of like how many people in that country own that particular stock. So like Sweden said, this many 100,000 shares were owned by people in Sweden and represented this much of the total ownership around the world. And so if you extrapolate it, you're like, oh, well, that means there's like 1 billion shares out there. Then by crazy volumes, like, we'd see a day where 190 million shares traded. Like, what? There's only 50 million shares in the float. How can 190 million shares trade? Well, because a lot of them were naked. And that suggests, a much higher short interest. And then thirdly was Get It Got's method, where he polled people. He literally created a scientific poll, polled Americans, and got a share count based on that. That's, there's a conservative and liberal estimate in there as to what those shares are. And then extrapolated that across the globe, where traditionally, and just using traditional investment, traditionally foreign investment is about 40% of total shareholders in a U.S. company, and extrapolated and came out to like 1.4 billion shares total ownership around the world. So that is kind of the rough estimations we've been using, and it kind of works. I'd be interested to see what vote totals are. A lot of Europeans can't vote, so because of the way that the shares get held in these weird holding companies via their brokerages, so they don't actually get the voting power. But I'd be curious to see like what the actual vote totals are. Sinchan, HW, happy birthday. Market is corrupt and will continue to be after MOAS. I am very hesitant to invest in stocks in the future. After MOAS, everyone will be looking for us to encourage investment and blah, blah, blah. I think you're right. I am my hopeful part of my personality is holding out hope that the post-mortem after all this that the SEC, Department of Justice, and Congress has to do will be like, oh, maybe we should fix a lot of these loopholes and eliminate naked short selling and get rid of dark pools and do the actual fixes that will ground our market in reality and will cut down on corruption and crime. Because right now, what we basically have is a giant racketeering, like, what would I want to call this monkey? I would call it a racketeering display, show, an event, a master class in racketeering, where these hedge funds and these market makers are all colluding with each other to suppress price on things because none of them can afford this thing to blow up in their faces. And the Department of Justice has announced that they're pursuing RICO investigations or charges against a lot of these players. And they've subpoenaed cell phones for insider trading and for racketeering. They've seized computers. They've done lots of stuff. And I think we will see in that post-mortem when the shit finally hits the fan and it's all over with, that they'll be picking through all of that information and getting themselves squared away to charge people with crimes and possibly fix what's broken in the system. Right now, those groups still have so much power, and they can pay people off, and they can donate to campaigns, and they can offer, hey, do you want a job after you're done with the SEC? Come work for Citadel. Okay, I'll get 6 figures and bonuses and all that stuff. So when those guys lose their power, that's when we'll see the change to the rules. Until then, they're going to keep screwing us over. Oh, man. Of course, the reset. Man, I am so far behind the chat today. It's crazy. This might be the furthest I've ever been behind. And we aren't at like... I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking slow today. Okay. The chat reset. So now... Hey, that caught me up. So I'm only back to 50 minutes behind. Not too shabby. Okay. Chicago Transit Minority. Did we talk about Jamie Dimon getting denied his extra cheddar? Yeah. Jamie Dimon, who is in charge of Chase Manhattan, the shareholders rejected his $52 million bonus. Oh, guy who's already worth like tens of billions of dollars, you didn't get your $50 million bonus? Oh, shucks. Good. Good. Quit your job, Jamie. Good. Why are you staring at me like that? Good. Good. Good on you. Get up there. Get up there, you dog. Quit staring at me and just get up there. It's always creepy when I just, out of the corner of my eye, I just have these 2 eyeballs just... What? Meow Meow. What's going on with that 003 rule? I've heard no updates. We should have been at... We've passed the 3 weeks, I think, for comment period. It was NSCC 2022003, I believe. So May 3rd, comments, rulemaking. Okay. So we have the comments here. The comments are finally posted. So the comment period must be done. Yeah, most recent comment was May 11th, May 10th, May 7th. I don't see, I see lots 23rd, 24th, 22nd. So right at the end, there wasn't very many comments, but the comment list is pretty Delon. Oh, you guys can't see. I always forget. God damn, I forget. So as the comments are here. Wait, did I just pass my own name? I know I commented. I can't remember what day I remember to comment though. Let's see here. But so dating back to the 19th. Let's see if I can see if they included. Here, there we go. So my comment is in there. This rule appears designed to specifically reward bad actors in the market and remove any risk that they may face regarding their extremely risky investment strategies. One cannot have a free market if the scales of that market are biased towards bad faith actors. Naked selling of all kinds needs to end. The solution isn't to continually kick the can and print even more counterfeit shares. This just further encourages and rewards manipulation by already too powerful hedge funds and market makers. Do not pass this rule. Create a better market, not a worse one. Retail investors are the backbone of the global market. If you hurt them, they'll leave forever. There you go. So there was my comment. And then I'm sure I'll find some of your comments in here as well. Should I pick some random ones? Let's see what the last comment from Jeff Asher has to say. Concerned citizen and retail investor, I strongly oppose this rule. I feel this rule does not have the interests of retail investing public at heart and instead serves to further the unfair advantages held by Wall Street and other large banking and hedge fund institutions. I believe in fair markets and oppose the increasing regulatory complexities used to obfuscate the inner workings of the market from the everyday investor. I believe this rule would enable institutions that have taken a short position on securities to use securities financing transactions, SFTs, as a way to bypass existing failure to deliver rules and avoid fair market price discovery when repurchasing the security. That's a well-worded one there, Jeff. Better than mine, even. Much better than mine. So, who else got? Who's in here? Do you guys have? William Morgan, did you? So we can go to all these are posted in here. Oh, some of these are I think cut and paste, but a concerned citizen, T. Doyle. Yep. So it's not positive. No, go away. Let's see. Is anybody that's like got law enforcement, retail investor. I don't see anybody from a hedge fund on here yet. Veterans, nurses. Retail investor, airline captain, federal employee, retail investors, marketing. I don't see anybody from a hedge fund. I think they would have gotten this stuff in here. But my guess is that every single solitary one of these don't pass this. So they're gonna have a hard excuse trying to pass this thing if 99.999% of these are folks saying don't do that. So if you want to check them out, I'll put the link here. Bam. So my guess is that they're now in discussions of how they can pass this thing while pissing us all off and not getting in trouble for it. That's probably where they are, meow meow. Okay. Okay. Where was I? Get it got. Apple only has $3.18 per share in cash. They also have $7.50 per share in long-term debt. I do wonder, like, for a long time they had $200 billion or more, like, offshored in Ireland. And they weren't offering dividends for a long time. People were like, dude, why am I paying $600 a share and not getting a dividend for it? So Apple's finally like, fine, we'll give you some dividends. But they really didn't want to repatriate that cash that was hiding offshore with the U.S. because they had to pay taxes on it. And so I think they were borrowing against that cash to give out the dividends. And so now they have a bunch of debt associated with trying to borrow to give dividends. And that's just silly. Man, the sexy XYG chat dating site just does not give up. You guys are tenacious. So tenacious. You're on vacation for the last 2 weeks? Where have you guys been? Yeah. Sexy chat for mod. That'd be hilarious if I gave them the responsibility of modding. I mean, I could take it away at any time, but certainly crack me up, that's for sure. Okay, where are we? Oh, I'm to one of the times Sexy Chat came in here to screw up things. Report the spam bot. Yes, please. Report them, report them, report them. On my side, I can report. There we go. Yeah, reported. Okay. And reported again. Wheat shortage. We talked about that. China bought up 60%, 69% of all grains. Talked about that. Scott Pollen. The minerals covered by conflict mineral rules are cassiterite, columbite, tantalite, coltan, gold, wolframite, and their derivatives, which are limited to tin, tantalum, tungsten, and gold. Weird that cobalt's not in there. Interesting. What does this sexy speak of? Captain Rhino, Houston, thank you so much for your letter. I must say I've seen a drastic drop in second intros the last few weeks. I hope my checklist has helped. I got your checklist buried under a pile of papers. But thank you for your letter. As a reminder, I still have stickers. I've got, I don't remember how many now, less than 50 stickers left. Probably still in the 40s. So in the description, go to the P.O. box down there, send a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I will send you a Houston We Have a Problem sticker. I got to give them away. So let's give them away. I haven't checked the P.O. box because my car's been dead. I had to borrow or take a long-ass walk. It's like, what, 3 miles to the P.O. box? We can do that this weekend. Maybe Monday. Anyway, I'll check the P.O. box and see if he sent me any stuff for stickers. And what do you want? You heard me say the word. Dang it! I didn't say it. I didn't say the WALK word. Cover your ears, your young ears. Right? I didn't say anything. Don't believe me. I lied. We are not going to be taking it along WALK. We already took one today. We borrowed a car. I dropped back off Dad's house, and yeah. So that. Thank you. Let's see here. What we got? Keeping it breezy. Haha, I work at LexisNexis. LexisNexis want to sponsor me and give me a subscription so I have access to all the papers I could ever want to read. That would be amazing. Okay, that's the conflict one. Got through that. People talking about Jerome. Jerome is a cool little town. There's a bunch of cool little ghost towns in Arizona. A lot of ones you haven't heard of up in the hills, especially. Shane E. Can confirm Slide Rock is rad. Do wear cutoffs or I'll take out your seat. Yes. You want something a little more robust than like a normal thin bathing suit. It will. So never nudes. Never nudes the way to go. Alana Krell, what's your favorite color? I like bright colors. I like seafoam green a lot. That's one. Trying to look at my shirts. I like kind of like lime greens. This is maybe a little more neon than this lime green that's on this shirt, but I like that color. Blues always make my baby blues stand out a little more. People never notice my glasses on anymore though. What other colors do I like, Monkey? But seafoam I like a lot. That might be my favorite color, seafoam green. It's just a pleasant color. The color green, yeah, it's about seafoam, like the super chat $5 super chat level. That's kind of the color. Maybe a pinch more blue in it. Somebody make a clip of Houston's "Don't Whip Out Your Schlong" speech. Yeah, don't whip out your schlong, man. Keep it in the pants. I was talking with a friend of mine once, and her family owns a lodge in South Dakota. So every year during Sturgis, they're there running the lodge and working and stuff. But it's like also like Party Town USA during Sturgis. You got 700,000 people all there just to party. And she met some guy, and they're chit-chatting and kind of became friends and hung out, like went to concerts and stuff together. And then he's like, oh, before we go to dinner, I have to stop by the hotel room real quick and get something. She's like, cool. So she like, they go to the hotel room. She's sitting there waiting, and he just comes out, and he's like buck naked. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, what the fuck? No, we're not doing this. He's like, what? And left. She gets this apology from him. She's like, oh my gosh, I misinterpreted signals. I'm so sorry. I didn't, apology. You led me on, all that crap, the gaslighting. And she's like, whatever, dude. Next year, a whole year later, she runs into him again at Sturgis, and he's like, I just want to apologize. Again, I'm so embarrassed. I want to apologize. Never happen again. She's like, all right, I'll give you a second chance. We can hang out, but we're not having sex. We're not doing any of that. And then he pulled the exact same thing on her, like, oh, let's go grab something from a hotel room, and then was like naked, like, ta-da! And that, that's it. I don't understand, like, I think a lot of it has to do with dudes have a hard time seeing something from someone else's perspective. In their brain, they're like, I would really like to see this girl naked right now, so obviously I should get naked, and she'll be like, oh my gosh, there's a naked person here. I should get naked too because that's the best thing in the world. And they don't think that. I guarantee you that there is not a man in this chat that some random woman wants to see naked. Sorry, dudes. They don't. They don't want you to strip off at one point and be like, ta-da! All they're going to do is either laugh or be horrified. And that's kind of... That's kind of where it is. So, your lizard brain, which is taking over, like, I should get naked right now because a woman wants to see my schlong. They don't. They see schlongs all day long. Men vastly overestimate their market value of their penis. They do. Penises are just everywhere, and any woman who wants one can be like, give it to me, and guys are like, okay. So, think of it in supply and demand context. There's an infinite supply of wieners and like zero demand for them. So stop flooding the market with your wieners and be stronger than your lizard brain. There's a second one for you there. Oi. Meow meow. Never go to the bike rally at Sturgis. There's a cop who pulls bikers over and searches for drugs so South Dakota can keep their bikes. There's so many cops there. They actually bring in cops from all over the country because this is an area that has a population of like 100,000, maybe less, in the whole like Black Hills area. And all of a sudden there's 750,000 like drunk party goers. I don't drink. I am sober as a judge. And I drive everyone everywhere. So my friends pile in the back I drive my friend's car around, and then everyone parties and they get drunk and I drive them home. And I got pulled over by these cops during a rainstorm, and they're like, oh, the rain's miserable, come in our car. And they made me like breathalyzed, and I was so bummed. Like, but we smelled alcohol. I'm like, yeah, they're all drunk. I'm totally sober. And the cops are like, oh, we wasted like 20 minutes on you. Meanwhile, like 50 drunk drivers are blowing past them while I'm pulled over. But yeah, a lot of cops. I haven't seen too many dead bodies in my life, but half of those dead bodies have been inside of the road at Sturgis from some motorcyclist that careened into like a road cut or got hit by a car. It's pretty gnarly. There's a lot of that too. And of course, none of them have helmets on, the ones that crash. So they're just lying there and like someone's covering them with a jacket. And it's pretty gnarly as you pull around them. Ugh. But other than that, there's a lot of great concerts. Got to go on dates with porn stars. That's always interesting. Yeah, so I recommend it. If you are like an older generation person, you are 90% of the crowd is like 60 years old or over. But all the women who work all the bars at Sturgis are young and beautiful. So if you are not really short, fat, and bald and old, you will have the time of your life at Sturgis with various really attractive bartenders. So, I've got a few years left of being able to pull that kind of crowd until it's over for me. So I might as well enjoy it, right? So speaking of which, I should probably go to Sturgis this year since maybe we'll make plans for that now that I'm thinking about that. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Colleen Davis, Houston, such a wonderful, respectful, amazing, amusing guy. I totally appreciate you. Thank you. Blame my mother. She'll tell anyone like it is and not care one whit what anyone has to say about it. Frozen State Production Citadel bought millions of calls and puts on AMC. Is this a way they can control the squeeze, or is it a way to make money up and down as the numbers fluctuate? It is definitely a hedge. If price rises, you make your money. Price drops, you make your money again. So why not? Why not? Oh, GFont YYC says that document came out 5 minutes ago. It's one of the blue ones and I missed it. Sorry, GFont. I didn't see that one. William Morgan gasoline $10 by October. I mean, we just signed a deal with Venezuela. That was another crystal ball moment. I said we'd be signing a deal with Venezuela. We have signed a deal with Venezuela. They are going to allow American oil companies back in to start improving the infrastructure and pumping oil, which means the Venezuelan currency. What do they have in Venezuela? Real and what is it? Venezuela. Come on, currency. Bolivar. Here's the Bolivar. Yeah. So their giant plunge has finally stopped in their currency. Their currency might actually become worth something again. It's been about 7-8 years since it was worth anything. Ever since we imposed sanctions in 2014, absolutely just ground their economy to a halt. And they've not been able to have any decent upgrades to their oil production since then. Russia was the only one that was helping out, and Russian oil fields are pretty much built and operated by American companies anyway. So the Russians don't have much technology to give to the Venezuelans to improve their infrastructure. So this is... I'm sure there's lots of concessions made by the U.S. to get this agreement done, but Citgo Oil will probably be pumping once again with the help of, I think it was Chevron that got the big contract. So that's coming, and that's the largest oil field in the entire world is Venezuela. They've got more proven reserves than even Saudi Arabia. So hopefully it helps the people of Venezuela. They need it more than anyone. They've been stuck starving and getting malaria, and it's been brutal. No Juggernaut Houston, can you do a quick analysis of Be Big Tide distribution? Well, the distribution is pretty straightforward. You're going to get, I think, one Tide share that's valued at around $10 to $15 for every 10 Be Big share. And Tide is apparently applied to be listed on the NASDAQ. So we may be listed on a major exchange by the time it's tradable. That's it. They should be distributed coming the 27th, which is next Friday. So I'm not sure if we'll see it in our accounts next Friday or by the following Monday, if it gets distributed after close or something like that. I don't know about that. So I totally forgot to get 5 more shares of Be Big before the date of record. So I'll be getting 15 tied shares. I have 155 shares of Be Big. So I get 15 of those, and I don't know. That's all I know. Ted Tremendous, why the Oldsmobile died? Do you like that car overall? I love that car overall, but I've got it with the engine. I need to take the top end off and clean out the valves. The cheap way to do it might be doing a seafoam treatment through the vacuum lines, but there's obviously a lot of gunk on the valves that need to be cleaned off just because it takes a little while to start, and oftentimes that is a problem. Is that the carbon buildup on the valves will soak up the gasoline until that thing gets completely saturated. There won't be enough gasoline for combustion, and so the starter works really hard. And I think that cranking that starter for a good 10 seconds to get the car to start because of that buildup on the valves resulted in straining the electrical system. So sometimes I get in the car, it will start. Sometimes I get in the car and there won't be a light on in the car. And I cannot find a wiring issue that makes that happen. So I really don't know. There's no short. I don't know. But the North Star V8 pulls. Gets great gas mileage. It would get better gas mileage if I could clean those valves off. But if I take everything off and do a top end, that's like $1,000. Just right there. And I could use $1,000 on GameStop. Or, what do I do? All my cars are sitting in the driveway broken because I keep using all my money to buy GameStop. So, oh, I woke you up. I was going to get you doing your sleepy growlies there. Oh, and I... Okay, there we go. There we go, monkey. I was going to try to record you doing your growlies, but you woke up when I moved the microphone. Julianne, you are slowly gaining followers who appreciate you for all your nerdy aspects. Might lose some occasionally, but meh, you'll gain some more weirdos like us who watch you. It happens. It's really funny. Like every once in a while, someone will announce their exit. They're like, "I can't stand you anymore. I'm leaving," and they're gone. And then I'll look at my Twitter or whatever, and I'll lose like 50 followers. And the next day, I'm up 100. So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, yeah. Phil Bill, why does your brother not want you to talk about metamaterials? Mainly because my stalker has been bothering him now. And he's been contacting us people involved in like retail traders who are like, Houston Wade's a liar. You can't trust him. And you can't trust his brother either. So that's kind of why, is that, my stalker seems to be winning these battles. And that's what he does. He stalks people. I mean, there's a reason why I changed my Twitter handle to Stalked by Pick Battles, because that's what he does. He's a stalker. Richard Lee Reinierson, you are a stalker. Leave it alone. Quit bothering people and go live your own life. Get a hobby, dude. Something. It's annoying. So anyway, he's good at that. So it's just like, hey, I can stand back. I can avoid that. I can, doesn't need to be a conflict of interest or perceived one there. William Morgan, Gmae can reach $1 quadrillion per share, but it's highly improbable. If you sell at the peak for $1 quadrillion, pay off everyone's student loans, please. It's a drop in the bucket. You'd make more than that in interest per day. You'd be fine. Now everyone's ripping on William Morgan for writing sticks instead of stocks. When sticks moass. Okay. Oh man, I am so far behind. Okay, we're at 2 hours in. I probably need to go get some lunch now. I can feel my head getting lighter as the day goes on. Chicago Transit minority. Who had brought home the championship? 94 Expos or 94 White Sox? 94 Cleveland Indians. That's who would have won that whole thing. They were the kings around that time. I would have been Cleveland Indians all the way in 94. Yeah. So there. But it would have probably been great for baseball if the Expos had won in 94. And still have a team in Montreal. Canada needs more teams. I think Vancouver should have a team. I think Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg. I think we need more teams in Canada for sure. Yeah. I mean, they're expanding the playoffs to 8 teams now per league. You may as well have just more teams to play. Might bring down the quality a bit. But, you know, who cares? Baseball's baseball. I like watching baseball. Even bad baseball I like watching. Okay. Ape Man Can. Hey, HW. Why aren't we seeing the SEC and DOJ acting on evidence against Citadel? When MOAS happens, won't that cause people to lose even more faith in those institutions? What's their strategy? We've talked about this in the past. That I think, you know, they announced their investigations, which is huge because that means usually when the DOJ comes out and like, we are launching a RICO investigation, it means they've already done their investigation and they have all the evidence they need. And what they're waiting for is for various whistleblowers to turn on poor people. They go charge them with something. They flip on someone higher and they work their way up the ladder. And what I think they don't want to do is they don't want to go out and arrest all these dudes wholesale right now while the market is in the process of dropping, because then the market will just drop. Like, oh, all these guys at these big institutions all got arrested and there's going to be a massive sell-off and everyone's going to panic and then it's all going to drop. And then they're going to lay the blame on the SEC and the Department of Justice saying, it's your fault. If you hadn't arrested those guys, it would have had the market crash. So I think they're waiting for the market to finish crashing and then they're going to jump in and arrest everybody. And then they'll be like, hey, we have all these people we can blame for what just happened in the market and why you're out of work. It's this guy. It's Ken Griffin's fault. And then those guys get paraded away. So I think that's kind of why we haven't seen the big arrests yet. Okay. Oh, sexy chef for mod. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down to the end here, and I think I'll do one more, and then we'll go. Take wheelbarrow to the post office. More than one box, I think, is there. I'm gonna take a wheelbarrow to the post office. What do you guys think? I should get you. I get a wheelbarrow and then hook your leashes up to it, and you can walk it home for me. Okay, is that it for today? That's all my brain has right now. I may or may not be able to do a Twitch stream tonight, late tonight. So if you guys are night owls or if you are Euros that wake up really early, probably asleep by now, then we will do that. Sound cool? All right, works for me. Catch you guys on the flip side. I should do a regular Monday show. I don't think it'll have to be a nighttime show. It'll probably, hopefully, be around this time on Monday. See you guys then. Peace out. Be stronger than your lizard brain. And for the crowd in the back.